The Rifleman film, which depicted the Wild West through a profound father-son relationship and breathtaking gunfights, has become an unforgettable memory for generations of viewers. But behind the glamour, many of the film's talented actors have passed away under heartbreaking circumstances, from tragic accidents to silent battles with illness. Let's look back on their journeys and honor the stars who made The Rifleman a legend, leaving an indelible mark on the hearts of fans. Chuck Connors as Lucas McCain. Kevin Joseph Chuck Connors was born on April 10, 1921, in Brooklyn, New York. At the age of 37, he took on the role of Lucas McCain, a brave sharpshooter and tough widower in the legendary television series The Rifleman, from 1958 to 1963. This role transformed him into an icon of American television at the time, portraying the ideal father figure always ready to defend justice with a rifle. But behind the dazzling spotlight lay a life full of inner conflict, paradoxes, and loneliness. The toughness he displayed on screen seemed to reflect Connor's real-life personality. Hot-tempered, controlling, and distant. Throughout his 40-year career, he frequently clashed with directors and co-stars due to his sudden outbursts and unreasonable demands. Several projects failed because of his stubbornness. Industry rumors suggest that Connors was secretly blacklisted by some studios, a tacit punishment for those deemed too difficult to work with. His personal life was no better. All 3 marriages ended in misery, leaving deep scars on the family. His first marriage, which lasted over 2 decades and seemed stable, ended in bitter accusations. Some of Connor's children publicly criticized him as an authoritarian father who frequently verbally abused them, creating a toxic and hostile family environment. In his later years, those who had once stood by him gradually drifted away, leaving a void that would never be filled. In his final years, Connors battled lung cancer, a disease that reflected the loneliness that had haunted him for so many years. The disease not only ravaged his body, but also deprived him of his ability to work, forcing him to live a secluded life in his California mansion. Once a symbol of success, it had now become a cold, isolated fortress. At the time of his death, Connor's net worth was estimated at around $5 million, including homes in California and Arizona, luxury cars, and royalties from The Rifleman and several other films. However, that wealth did little to alleviate the bitterness of his death on November 10, 1992, in Los Angeles. At the age of 71, Johnny Crawford as Mark McCain. Johnny Crawford was born on March 26, 1946, in Los Angeles. At just 12 years old, the slender boy with sharp eyes took on the role of Mark McCain, the loyal, sometimes impulsive son of Lucas McCain, in the classic series The Rifleman, from 1958 to 1963. That role not only earned Johnny an Emmy nomination at age 13, but also turned him into a national television icon, a child prodigy beloved by all of America. But the very spotlight that brought him fame also consumed his childhood, his youth, and his future. When The Rifleman concludes, Johnny, now an adult, must face a harsh reality. Hollywood has no place for a former child star. The directors who once courted him have turned their backs on him. Big roles never came his way, and his music career only had a few fleeting hits. Trapped between the Little Mark persona and a rapidly changing entertainment world, Johnny sank into a deep sense of alienation. The pressures of unemployment and fading fame pushed him into depression. According to close friends, he sometimes turned to drugs as a temporary escape. His personal life wasn't much better. After marrying his high school sweetheart, Charlotte Samko, in 1995, Johnny hoped to find peace after the storm. But a declining career, poor mental health, and unstable finances put pressure on their marriage. He rarely appeared in public, withdrew from the media, and lived a quiet, solitary life. In his later years, Crawford led a small classical band, performing at private events. Despite his passion, those infrequent performances did little to revive his career or finances. At the time of his death, his net worth was estimated at under $1 million, consisting mostly of remaining royalties and some modest personal assets. In 2019, tragedy struck when Johnny was diagnosed with Alzheimer's disease. Unable to afford treatment, he moved to a nursing home and relied on the support of friends and fundraising efforts organized by fans. In 2021, he contracted COVID-19, followed by pneumonia, which accelerated the progression of his Alzheimer's disease. On April 29, 2021, Johnny Crawford passed away at the age of 75. He died peacefully and sadly at a nursing home, where even his memory had long since left him. Paul Fix as Sheriff Micah Torrance. Paul Fix, born Peter Paul Fix, was born on March 13, 1901, in Dobbs Ferry, New York. At the age of 57, he took on the role of Sheriff Micah Torrance, a tough but reliable sheriff in the series The Rifleman, from 1958 to 1963. His character became an icon of law and order amidst the chaos of the Wild West, a loyal companion to Lucas and Mark McCain. But behind that calm exterior lay the life of a man caught up in the very world to which he had dedicated his career. Fix had been a sailor in World War I and had deserted twice only to re-enlist. Those turbulent years of his youth had forged an unwavering will within him. Despite appearing in nearly 350 films and television shows, Fix remained typecast in supporting roles: police chiefs, lawyers, or grumpy fathers. As Hollywood entered a new era, Fix gradually faded into the background. Outdated roles were no longer in demand, and he endured long periods of unemployment, leaving him bitter and withdrawn. He rarely gave interviews, avoided crowds, and only accepted small roles to make a living. His savings, about $2 million, were gradually depleted by medical expenses, care costs, and the effects of old age and unemployment. His Los Angeles home, where he lived quietly, became his last refuge. Fix's personal life wasn't much better. After divorcing his first wife in 1945, he remarried Beverly Pratt, who died in 1979. Her death devastated him. Despite having a daughter and several grandchildren, Fix maintained an emotional distance, almost shunning them. He completely withdrew from public life, missing events and accepting no acting roles after 1981. Chronic kidney disease gradually weakened his health. On October 14, 1983, Paul Fix passed away at the age of 82 in Los Angeles. He died peacefully, just as he had lived. He was buried next to his second wife at Woodlawn Cemetery in Santa Monica. Joe Higgins Chongvai Niels Swenson. Joseph H. Higgins was born on July 12, 1925, in Logansport, Indiana. At age 35, he played Niels Swenson, the gentle, soft-spoken blacksmith in the television series The Rifleman, from 1960 to 1963. His sturdy physique and warm, resonant voice made this character an unforgettable figure in the North Fork community. But behind the camera, Higgins was a man scarred by many flaws. Well-educated and holding a Ph.D. in philosophy, Higgins began his television career with great promise. However, his worsening alcoholism damaged his professional image. Public drunkenness, loud arguments with producers, and erratic behavior on set led to a decline in his opportunities. By the mid-1976, he was mostly given small, repetitive roles, relying only on his familiar face from television commercials. Off-screen, Higgins's life was also full of ups and downs. Many of his marriages ended in allegations of infidelity and domestic violence. His relationship with his children deteriorated due to financial lawsuits, leaving him nearly isolated in his later years. Although he had won a Clio Award for a Dodge advertisement and served as a spokesperson for General Electric, his reputation never fully recovered from the prolonged scandals and personal instability. Joe Higgins died of a heart attack on June 15, 1998, at the age of 72. His estate was estimated at around $1 million. Primarily from commercials and television roles, but was significantly depleted by legal fees and medical expenses. Bill Quinn as Frank Sweeney. Bill Quinn was born on May 6, 1912, in New York. At the age of 46, he took on the role of Frank Sweeney, a friendly bartender and beloved resident of North Fork. In the Rifleman series, 1958 to 1963, Quinn brought warmth and familiarity to the western town, helping to shape its spirit. But off-screen, his life was fraught with cracks, repression, and regrets. Quinn was soon labeled a difficult person, frequently clashing with directors, which cost him many great opportunities. His career spanned 7 decades, but most of his roles were obscure and unremarkable. By the 1976, Hollywood producers had largely forgotten about him. Each return to the screen was merely a brief background appearance. As he got older, he appeared less and less in public, quietly distancing himself from the very industry he had helped shape. The pressures of work affected his family life. His marriage to Mary Catherine Rodin, once admired in Hollywood, began to crumble under the prolonged pressure. At one point, tabloid newspapers reported on extramarital affairs and financial disputes, plunging the family into crisis. His relationship with his three daughters deteriorated after inheritance disputes, with one even filing a lawsuit to strip Quinn of control over the family assets. A devastating blow to a father who had shouldered all the burdens. Bill Quinn died on April 29, 1994, just 1 week before his 82nd birthday. The cause of death was recorded as natural, but it was the result of years of declining health. At the time of his death, his estate was valued at approximately $1 million, primarily from his house and remaining royalties. He was buried at San Fernando Mission Cemetery, ending a life that was always in the spotlight but ended quietly. Joan Taylor as Millie Scott. Joan Taylor, whose real name was Rosemary Emma, was born on August 18, 1929, in Geneva, Illinois. At age 31, she joined the Rifleman from 1960 to 1962, playing Millie Scott, the charming saleswoman and the only woman who truly softened Lucas McCain's heart. Taylor quickly became a fan favorite, but when the lights went out, her life took a turn for the worse, filled with more sadness than applause. Paramount had high hopes for Taylor's fame, even insuring her legs for $100,000, a sign of the early attention she received. But after The Rifleman, her career slowed down, partly due to her own choices, as she took a break to care for her family, and partly due to rumors of her erratic temperament and allegations of substance abuse. Producers became cautious, and acting opportunities dwindled. In her private life, Taylor suffered greatly. Her first marriage to Leonard Freeman, creator of the Hawaii Five-0 series, brought her career success but was fraught with personal turmoil. Following Freeman's death in 1974, she took over the production company under the name Rose Freeman. However, financial pressures, legal disputes, and a growing distance from her three daughters left her mentally exhausted. Her second marriage to director Walter Grauman ended after only 4 years, leaving her once again living alone in her Santa Monica mansion. Santa Monica. Joan Taylor died of natural causes on March 4, 2012, at the age of 82. Her net worth was estimated at approximately $2 million, primarily derived from her Santa Monica home and intellectual property rights related to the Hawaii Five-0 television series. Harlan Ward Chungvai John Hamilton. Harlan Ward, born Harlan Ward Lufkin, was born on November 6, 1917. At the age of 40, he took on the role of John Hamilton, a calm, kind banker in North Fork, in the television series The Rifleman from 1958 to 1963. Appearing in 18 episodes, Ward not only displayed reliability and maturity, but also brought emotional depth to the Wild West setting. However, off-screen, his real life was fraught with legal troubles and heartbreaking family tragedies. At the height of his career, with hundreds of roles in film and television, Ward suddenly became embroiled in a financial embezzlement scandal involving a small production company he had invested in with several partners. Although he was never criminally prosecuted, the incident caused suspicion and damaged his reputation. Studios quietly terminated their contracts, and roles stopped coming their way. The silence in Hollywood grew increasingly eerie. Once lauded as a brilliant supporting actor in the Western genre, Ward began a rapid decline into oblivion. His personal life was also fraught with difficulties. All 3 of his marriages ended in divorce, with allegations of neglect and emotional abuse. Prolonged custody battles strained his relationship with his children, leading to estrangement. Family members described him as moody and obsessed with his lost career, gradually withdrawing from society in his later years. Harlan Ward died on March 13, 1980, at the age of 62. The cause of death was not publicly disclosed, but it is believed to have been due to a non-communicable disease. He was buried at Los Angeles National Cemetery. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated at under $750,000, significantly reduced by legal fees and the consequences of a turbulent life. Hope Summers as Hattie Denton. Hope Summers was born on June 7, 1902, in Mattoon, Illinois. At age 62, she joined the Riflemen as Hattie Denton, the kind and considerate postmaster of North Fork. Her character brought warmth and reassurance to the series, portraying a reliable, down-to-earth woman in a dry and chaotic Wild West. But Summers' real life was a silent battle against unnamed wounds. Despite being beloved by fans for her 36 appearances on The Andy Griffith Show, her career remained limited to small, underdeveloped roles. Colleagues noticed that Summers often appeared sad, withdrawn, and avoided social interaction within the industry. After age 60, she struggled to find recurring roles. Declining health affected her work, and she was often cast in eccentric elderly characters, reflecting her own health condition. In her personal life, her marriage to Claude Witherell was once a source of emotional support. However, over time, the relationship broke down due to allegations of infidelity and prolonged family conflicts. After the divorce, she lived alone, rarely appeared with her children, and almost completely cut off contact with her former colleagues. Many believed she suffered from chronic depression, finding no joy in her work or life. In her later years, Summers lived off the income from voicing the character of Mrs. Butterworth in commercials. On June 22, 1979, Hope Summers died of heart failure at the age of 77. She passed away peacefully, without a lavish funeral or extensive media coverage. Her net worth at the time was estimated at around $500,000, primarily derived from a modest apartment and advertising income. Patricia Blair as Lou Mallory. Patricia Blair, whose real name was Patsy Lou Blake, was born on March 15, 1933 in Fort Worth, Texas. At the age of 29, she made her mark in the television series The Rifleman 1962-1963 as Lou Mallory, a beautiful and strong businesswoman who brought new life to North Fork in the final season of the show. With her sharp looks and authoritative demeanor, Blair was considered a potential new female icon in the Western genre. But behind the glamour were simmering tensions that quickly derailed her career. As a perfectionist, Blair often demanded deeper and more complex roles, leading to bitter conflicts with producers. At one point, she refused to sign a contract unless her younger co-star Veronica Cartwright was removed from the role of Daniel Boone, fearing it would make her image appear older. These demands fueled rumors that she had been blacklisted in Hollywood. After the series ended in 1970, her career stalled with only minor roles and a few sporadic commercials. Once a bright television star, Blair gradually faded into obscurity amidst the wave of new television shows. Her personal life was also tumultuous. Her marriage to businessman Martin Kolber ended in 1993 amid financial disputes and allegations of emotional abuse. Rumors circulated about a custody battle and mental breakdown. Some former co-stars revealed that Blair had to use tranquilizers to regulate her emotions. Patricia Blair died on September 9, 2013, at her home in North Wildwood, New Jersey, after a long battle with breast cancer. She was 80 years old. Her net worth at the time of her death was estimated at approximately $1.5 million, primarily derived from past successes, but depleted by legal fees, medical expenses, and personal losses. A woman once hailed as the muse of the Wild West, she ended her life in silence, carrying within her a loneliness never seen on screen. Ralph Moody as Dr. Burridge. Ralph Moody was born on November 5, 1886. At the age of 74, he played Dr. Burridge, the kind and experienced doctor of the town, in the film The Rifleman, from 1960 to 1963. With his calm voice and wise gaze, Moody convinced viewers that he truly was the medical soul of North Fork. But his real-life journey was quiet, full of hidden shadows. Before coming to television, Moody spent more than 4 decades touring with theater companies and working in radio. However, when he transitioned to acting in middle age, he unexpectedly became embroiled in a serious professional scandal. An unverified accusation of medical misconduct during his preparation for a role alienated him from colleagues and made him a target for producers. Although never substantiated, the damage to his reputation was immense, and roles became scarce. In his personal life, Moody experienced several failed marriages amid allegations of emotional abuse and over-control. He became estranged from his children and lived in isolation in his later years. Old friends gradually distanced themselves, and with his disappearance from television, he slowly faded into obscurity. Ralph Moody died of natural causes on September 6, 1971, at the age of 84. His net worth at the time of his death was estimated to be under $500,000, primarily from royalties and some modest personal assets.